We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show, episode 233. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my right is the current reigning and defending Scholars of Wrestling champion and Mr. Scholar in the Bank himself, Scholar Tarek. What's up tonight, sir?
First episode of the Scholars of Wrestling of 2019. It's going to be a great year for the Scholars of Wrestling. We will continue to make this show better and better every day, every week, every year.
Absolutely.
That comes in the future.
Heck yeah. Isn't that right? To my left, the master of douchery himself, Scholar Bryan.
It is indeed a new year, and hopefully, and a fresh start for all involved, and hopefully it's a better year than 2018.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
Yes.
The last few months, woof.
Yes. And we're going to get to it all. We've got a whole new year full of new possibilities and all new wrestling. And we're going to get into all of that in a little segment we like to call a Backstage News.
Indeed. We shall return at peeking behind that curtain and checking in on a little
Backstage News.
News.
2019 minute.
There we are. It's a new year full of, well, new news. It's Backstage News, starting us off with a little bit of good news that just dropped on the new year. For those of you who have been following Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and the rest of the crew of the Elite, they have officially announced at midnight on New Year's Day they have their new business venture, which is All Elite Wrestling, which I admit, when I heard some murmurs about that from you guys last week, I was like, I'm not selling it, but at the same time, I'm like, where the hell did they hear this? And then I saw this, All Elite Wrestling, and what is essentially all into Double or Nothing, coming apparently to Las Vegas, maybe?
Did they announce a date for this event?
I don't think they did. They just announced the name of it, that it's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with All Elite Wrestling is they didn't confirm it until New Year's Eve. But it had been... I don't know where you were getting the I'm not buying this, because it had been talked about since All In. That this was coming together, and yeah, it wasn't confirmed or anything, but there was enough
all
going around to make it. It was pretty much like 95% certain that this was a thing.
All In was pretty much their experiment to see how they would promote their own show, and we all saw, All In was a great success. And it just led to them thinking, okay, let's make a promotion out of this, and All Elite was born, and
Cody.
It was more than just speculation. It was just a matter of time when they were going to announce.
Oh,
this.
sure.
And once they started talking about the countdown, I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah. To be fair, the speculation was not that they were going to do something. The speculation, or the things that were up in the air in my mind, was always going to be, what form was this going to take? Was this going to be All In 2? Was this going to be some other independent wrestling league? Turns out it's both. And I honestly couldn't be happier. This looks like a tremendous prospect with a whole ton of hype behind it. The question I've got for you is, what do you see for the future of All Elite Wrestling? What form do you think it'll take?
The whole thing... the big thing coming out of this is that there's finally an alternative in the States for WWE. Okay, you had Impact, but it's going to a new network that nobody has. Okay, when it was on a network that people have, nobody watched it. So, but nobody, no big wrestling fan in their right mind is going to be like, oh, All Elite Wrestling. it's just another one of those Impact Wrestling kind of deals that is going to fizz out in a year. No, these guys are on top of their game in all ways. Marketing, what you need to run a business. Okay,
The money.
Cody Rhodes knows how to run a wrestling promotion through his family. Okay, he knows the ins and outs. So if anybody could do it, it's this guy. Okay, and we saw All in one rousing success. Like, it couldn't have possibly gone any better. So just going off of that, I'm more excited about the independent wrestling scene right now than I have ever been.
Fool, any thoughts about where you can want to see or where you think All Elite Wrestling could go?
Well, I think it'll definitely surpass Impact. I don't think it's gonna start. It's definitely gonna start out small. Like it's not gonna be like.
It's not right away.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like all of a sudden. Okay, a week in, it's already the top promote. It's already giving WWE a run for its money. No, not at all. It's definitely going to be that. It's definitely going to find its footwork, obvious as all businesses starting from the ground up do, and it eventually will get a TV deal. It'll probably even cross promote with New Japan, Ring of Honor, and possibly Impact. It'll slowly build itself up to a point where it could eventually become a competitor for WWE, even get a TV deal on a small channel.
You know what, though? With these guys running it right now and with the success that they had with that pay-per-view, with All In, I don't think it's gonna be that long. I could see within the year that it opened, that the promotion opens, them having a TV deal.
I agree.
So
that's the time frame I had in mind as well.
Although I do agree on the time frame, I do think their approach is going to be slightly different than what was just outlined here. There are two main things that come to mind for me personally. I think, first of all, in terms of presentation and their dedication to the core wrestling fan audience, aka people like us, in understanding that, I think that they're going to instead take more of a next generation Ring of Honor type of vibe to it. I can see, even though some sort of distribution deal being locked down absolutely within the first year or even sooner, first of all, I think they're first and foremost, I think they're going to go after the Ring of Honor audience first. They're going to make sure that they're satisfied in anything. Before they hit WWE, which is going to be, I think they're going to be a long ways away from direct competition from WWE. However, I think it's much more likely that we're going to get something like AEW versus a Ring of Honor feud, or even AEW versus, or like a AEW versus New Japan matchup, something like that.
Oh, there's definitely going to be New Japan. Definitely, no doubt.
Oh yeah, but before all of that, in terms of distribution, I don't think they're going to put, as much as I'm sure they love to have a TV deal, I'm not entirely certain they're going to make that their first priority.
No, not at all.
I think they're going to make in terms of distribution anyway.
Streaming service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to make their first and foremost thing streaming services. Because let's face it, anyone can set up a Twitch channel. Anyone can set up some sort of presence on YouTube Live. Just for everyone from the layman to multi-billion-dollar media companies. There's tons of there's a huge user base, especially on YouTube and Twitch. So the audience is ripe for the picking, and let's face it, if we've got a legitimate alternative for wrestling that's accessible and relatively inexpensive, I don't know about you, but I'll watch it.
Oh, of course.
Oh, easily.
And I think that guys like the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, all these guys, they're all our age. They all understand this just as well as we do, if not more, due to the business acumen of guys like Cody. So, gentlemen, we look forward to what happens next.
It's definitely going to be an exciting year.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, Cody Bucks, please subscribe to our channel. We love you. Smile for the camera. And we're done. Now we're going from some very good news to some very sad breaking news that just happened a couple days ago as of this recording.
Yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
2019 did
January
not wait.
2nd. That 2019
Did not
decided
wait.
to say 2019 decided to say fuck you immediately.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the new year.
Yes.
Welcome to the new year. Now fuck off. That's it.
Yes, and unfortunately, we lost a good one. We had to say goodbye to Mean Gene Okerlund, one of the biggest and most well-known, let's say, announcers, backstage interviewers, whatever you want to call them. There was no voice quite like Mean Gene Okerlund.
He was basically the last survivor of that announcing, commentating era. Okay, because Bobby the Brain went, Gorilla Monsoon went, and Mean Gene was like the last part of that trio. And so that makes it hit home even more, because most of the big memories back then, Mean Gene had something to do with them. Through the build-up, through the moments, in-ring moments, and all that. So it's like any big feud that you've seen, Hulk Hogan, Andre, all that.
Mean Gene was right in the middle.
Mean Gene was right in the middle of it, and so much so that you saw him at WrestleMania every year until recently. And now we know why. Because it came out today that he had been ailing for about a year, and then he took a fall about
I remember reading about
a few
that.
weeks ago. And he really screwed up his ribs, and when you're already ailing and you're 76 years old, yeah,
that doesn't go well.
So yeah, this really sucks, but it also makes you look back.
What was the one event that he was having a backstage interview and the sign went down and he just dropping the F-bomb?
Yeah.
What show was that?
I thought it was Survivor Series.
I was gonna say it's either SummerSlam or Survivor Series. It was an S named event.
I know. Why is that the only thing we remember? I want to say it's Survivor Series though.
And then just the sign coming down. He's like, "Oh,
Fuck.
what is this?" He just completely lost his cool.
And that's the one time too, because everyone he's interviewing people. Okay, they're freaking out, and he's the straight man the entire time, like not moving his head, not getting emotional or anything. He's just letting them air their shit out, and that's the difference between Mean Gene and anyone doing it today.
Like Charlie. Ugh.
Yeah, they gotta inject their.
I don't like her.
They gotta inject
She looks
their
like a fish.
Yeah, the people
How do
today.
you really feel?
I think she's boring and she looks like a fish. There, that's my opinion on Charlie.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the people today, okay, they have to inject their emotion into it. Like they gotta act like they're cool with the faces, and they gotta be to the heels. When Mean Gene was just like.
And then once the wrestlers leave the interview, they just go. That's them today.
Yeah, and
Look pensively constipated.
Not back to you guys out at the table. It's just I don't understand what they're saying.
Look slightly off screen.
yeah. So it's basically.
I hate that stuff.
It's basically
It's an imperfect art, we know.
the last bastion of the old way of commentating and announcing was Mean Gene Okerlund. And now he's gone. and we're stuck with what we've got now.
And I still think he's sexy.
Always.
Only some will actually get that reference.
Okay.
Okay, since you're obviously not getting it, Ready to Rumble, when they're having that trailer party, Mean Gene goes to Oliver Platt's character, Jimmy King. Do people think I'm sexy? I think you're sexy. Mean Gene,
Wow.
I really do.
Wow.
Like I said,
I totally forgot about
only
that.
some will actually remember that
We need
reference.
to rewatch Ready to Rumble.
Yes.
We have
Stream it.
Yeah, we have.
Stream
We
it.
have-
Watch
we
it.
have
live
plans.
reactions.
Yes, that's what we should do.
You know what?
Yes.
That. Now there's an idea, gentlemen.
That's an idea building for the future of Scholars of Wrestling.
But even outside of that, what are some of your other big favorite moments from the career of Mean Gene Okerlund? What are some moments that you will remember with him?
I honestly kind of said both of them. His F-bomb and his sexiness.
Pretty much. That's
You agree with the F-bomb and the sexiness.
always agree with the F-bomb and the sexiness. But,
We have to agree
but
on
I mean,
something.
like,
We have to agree on something here.
yeah, but it's not just one thing. Okay, it's
A long career of it.
a long career of like there's no segment I can look back on and be like, why was Mean Gene so bad in this segment? There's nothing.
You can't say that at all.
He was the epitome of consistency. Consistently great.
I have to say, for whatever reason, the one thing that always comes to mind whenever I think of Mean Gene Okerlund is interview segments with Chris Jericho in WCW. For no other reason than Jericho kept calling him Gene Mean. I love Jericho's gimmick of intentionally getting everyone's names wrong.
And
that was the first time I ever heard that, and I was like, Gene Mean, I love it.
And I think Jericho's the only person who, other than the fuck moment, got Mean Gene to crack.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many other moments that are coming out right now where they're just like, okay, now they're just trying to mess with. I was about to call him Gene Mean. That of everyone messing with Gene Okerlund and just making each other laugh. It just seemed like even though it was a different era, it was also a very fun era to be a part of.
And when you think
I'm gonna call him that from now on, Gene Mean.
When you think of voices, I mean like just voices, not like the segments or anything like that. When you think of just the voices, the first one you think of is Mean Gene's voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's just when you think of. You're dreaming about a segment in your head. Okay, you're dreaming up a segment. Just like you're dreaming up your debut interview for the WWE. You're just dreaming it. And which voice do you pick? Like you don't even see the person, you're just hearing the voice. The one you pick the one I pick at all times is Mean Gene's voice.
Mm-hmm. He was definitely that one backstage interviewer that was, like, when it comes to presentation, he was definitely professional. He was like that one backstage interviewer who is not a character, but a profession. Like he's a professional sports interviewer, not an
He carried himself that way.
He carried an entertaining interviewer. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, in any sort of art, if you have the big, boisterous, colorful characters, which wrestling certainly has more than its fair share of, you need to have the straight man. Bud Abbott had Lou Costello. Just about any other act you can think of, there needs to be the straight man.
And Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and the Ultimate Warrior all had Mean Gene Okerlund.
Bingo.
All of your old school favorites, a lot of your Attitude Era guys, a lot of your WCW favorites, all had Mean Gene Okerlund.
Mm-hmm.
So, rest easy. Rest in the Pantheon of wrestling greatness, you've certainly earned it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And thank you for all those moments that we still like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Until we see you again.
Continue to remain sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Of course.
Now, going from the exciting to the sad to the just plain weird in professional wrestling, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this yet, but apparently, first it started with a punch. Jason David Frank, a.k.a. Tommy the Green Ranger, a.k.a. the White Ranger, a.k.a. the Power Ranger.
AKA so many Rangers.
What was he? He was a Red Ranger. He was a Green Ranger, White Ranger, Gold Ranger.
He was a Black Ranger.
I think Jason was the Gold Ranger.
Jason was the Gold Ranger, but he did play a Black Ranger at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like
Dino Thunder. Yeah.
Dino Thunder, thank you. But anyway.
As you called him, the Power Ranger.
Yes. But then you're probably wondering, what the hell does that have to do with wrestling? This is the Scholars of Wrestling, not Scholars of Power Rangers.
He punched a dude.
Yes, he punched a dude in Texas, in Laredo, Texas. And apparently he's going to be having his professional wrestling debut as a part of the Laredo Wrestling Alliance in Laredo, Texas.
It seems like
Wow.
it's just part of the I guess the arc of Jason David Frank.
Of MMA fighters slowly transitioning into professional wrestling. That the streak is continuing.
Yeah, but also it's like TV fight actor turns his fighting karate skills into a I don't know if I'd call it impressive, but an okay MMA career.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decides, hey, let's give this other thing a shot. I'm gonna go to this random ass Texas wrestling federation.
Probably just like right by his house.
Yeah, random ass Texas federation, probably a gym somewhere. And let's see what I can do in this area. Let me punch this dude in the face and see how that works out. That's it.
Oh boy.
So do I think it's gonna get any further than this? No,
Probably not.
But
no.
it's a good novelty act for a indie wrestling show that maybe 100 people are going to see and actually care about.
And then he'll just post it on his social media accounts.
He'll post it on his social media accounts. If it's a video, we'll watch it and we'll critique, and then everybody will move on.
That is, unless Xavier Woods has a complete fanboy geek out moment and gives him some sort of guest spot on.
He'll try.
show.
Yeah, he'll try
You
and
know
convince
what?
Vince to do it. Yeah.
You know what? It's Xavier Woods, so we'll see him on. We'll
He's
see
one of
him
us.
We'll see him guest hosting WWE Raw in the near future.
Hey,
or
we do-
SmackDown, since Xavier's a SmackDown
truth
guy.
be told, he
For
has
now.
been. Truth be told, Jason David Frank has been on episodes of Up, Up, Down, Down before.
That doesn't surprise me,
So the connection is there. It does exist.
because the Power Ranger fans are always at Comic-Con, which means Jason David Frank is always at Comic-Con. And how often does Xavier Woods go to Comic-Con?
Every year.
Every single
So
year.
there's
Good for you.
I can almost get, what is it, once a year he probably has something with Jason David Frank
Oh, yeah.
on there. So
The connection is there. Again,
Both
Will
Comic-Cons, New York and San Diego.
will something happen? Probably not. But still, just seeing that
speculation is ripe.
the Green Ranger is getting into pro wrestling, my childhood is exploding with glee.
Is he going to dress like the Ranger?
No.
No, he'll just dress as his MMA green. He'll have Green Ranger boxer shorts.
Hey,
Yeah, there you go.
works for me.
But hey, he's Tommy.
He'll
he
come
can
out
get
to
away
the
with it.
Green Ranger theme.
He'll
And
come
it
out
will
to the
be-
Power. He'll come out to the Power Ranger. Go Power Rangers!
Oh man.
Imagine.
Either way, just seeing where. See, you're already geeking out. See,
Like you
It's
said,
a draw.
childhood,
It's
man.
our childhood exploding, man.
It's a draw, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm still very excited to see where this goes.
We thought we'd have nothing to say, but the inner child is coming out.
It's like, yeah, Power Rangers, yeah.
That's really all you can say.
Like, yay, Power Rangers wrestling. It's like my toy box is coming to life.
It's like the one time.
It is.
It's like the one time I had your Rock fight my Green Ranger figure in my plastic wrestling ring. Oh, it's gonna happen in real life.
And then Godzilla shows up.
Yeah. Stop looking at me, Swan.
I love wrestling so much. But now,
God, we're such idiots.
no, we're scholars of wrestling. Hey.
And idiots.
Yes. Speaking of idiots, let's get into a little bit of This Week in Wrestling. Given that this was a weird sort of pre-taped overlap.
This is the second week of pre-tape shows, yes.
Yes. Monday Night Raw was on New Year's Eve. New Year's Day at Smackdown. I did not catch all of this, but let's go right into how
Who
much
are we
did you
kidding?
catch
Who
of this?
actually watched this?
I just want to bring something
Raw?
up because I thought that this backstage segment could have been one of the cutscenes in the old WWE video games, like Here Comes the Pain, where Shane McMahon's doing this little punch jumping around Triple H, and Triple H is just staring at him like a disappointed dad.
It's like, I cannot
And
believe
he's just like,
I'm married into your family.
Tell me that scene didn't look like a cutscene from Here Comes the Pain. You know, those ones that had nothing to do with your character. It just kind of pops up.
I can see that.
This was on Raw?
It was
Yeah,
on
this
Raw.
was on Raw.
It was
But
good.
it's like I first asked, who actually watched this when it aired?
When it aired, no.
No.
I went to a New Year's Eve party, so I didn't actually.
I was at a New Year's Eve party. I
was out at the bar getting all you can drink. So
enjoying
New
the
Year
daddy sodas.
Yes.
And pretty much, we were all
Okay.
just enjoying New Year's our own way.
Mm-hmm.
One at a bar,
And none
two
of
at parties. Still
and
getting
none of
drunk.
those none of those things had Raw
or SmackDown.
anywhere near them. Well, I watched SmackDown.
You did watch SmackDown?
I was home for SmackDown. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Hey, I did watch SmackDown as well. I got nothing from Raw this past week. Even looking at the results, like, okay, it seems like an average episode of Raw. Ronda Rousey was there. That's a good thing.
I'll say this. Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler.
Steel cage.
Okay.
Well, that was a good
If
match.
they're going to end the feud, okay, with Drew McIntyre going out on top and making his case for the Royal Rumble, okay, that was the best way to do it. Okay, he murdered Dolph Ziggler.
And
Like, it was...
and you do got to give it to Dolph. He kept basically going more weight. Does anyone get that?
More white.
More
Hit
weight.
me again.
And he was just basically like, is that all you got? He just kept coming and coming. So it didn't completely destroy Dolph Ziggler, but it still made Drew McIntyre really strong for the Royal Rumble.
And then that aftermath with the drop, was it a drop kick into the chair?
It was a drop kick into the chair, yeah. Or as they were putting it, was a claymore into the chair.
Yeah, that I guess he set it up so that Dolph Ziggler's head was in between the chair and the steel cage, and he ran in and just kicked the shit out of the chair. So I mean, like that, you want to put a guy over as a badass heel. This was a guy who he was in a working relationship with just a month ago, and this is what he's doing to that guy. Now imagine what he's got to do to everybody else. That would have been my promo if I was Drew.
After he did, like I said, Ziggler did come up. He actually got the chair and sat on it and was still just going, "Bring it on, man. Bring it on." And then Drew was just like, "You son of a bitch, stay down." Boom! One more claymore, and that actually ended the segment.
Mm-hmm.
I actually watched it today to prepare for the show, and it was actually my first time watching both shows back to back.
And I do like the idea of what they're doing with Seth Rollins now. That they bought out Triple H to tell him, no, we don't do automatic rematches anymore. You have to earn them, basically. That's basically what I thought he was saying in that segment. And then Seth Rollins was like, careful. Okay, remember 2 years ago when I whooped your ass?
Well, he didn't even really bring it up like that. It was just Triple H. It was Triple H who brought up the fact that he beat his ass, and he's like, yeah, it wasn't just me picking you. It was me. I saw something in you that you could be the man, and then I definitely was reminded of that when I fought you at WrestleMania.
And then Seth Rollins was bringing up, like, bringing the old Seth Rollins back.
You want me to be? He's like, you want me to be the bastard? And Triple H just simply respond, yes. It's like, all right. And this segment, part of the segment cracked me up because the crowd was getting really into it, getting into Triple H and Seth really getting at each other.
And then out comes Shane.
No, not even
we're not there yet.
It was just the second. It's like as of recently, I haven't seen that fire in you. It's like, and then Seth's like, what are you talking about? I had Raw on my shoulders for this entire year. It's like, well, I want to see that Seth Rollins again with you fighting Bobby Lashley. It's like, yeah. Oh, really? Bobby Lashley? Oh, is that what you...
But then,
then
when you actually got to that match and the ending of that match, it's like, oh shit, bastard's coming out. Because he went to town on Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush with those chairs because Leo Rush kept getting involved. And you could just see it. Every time Leo Rush got involved, the bastard would peek out just a little bit. And then just...
And then the ending came and he was just like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. Grabs a steel chair, wails Bobby Lashley with it, wails Leo Rush with it. Back and forth, and one hell of a curb stomp to Leo Rush.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, if this is how they're going to build him up for a potential Universal Championship match at WrestleMania, okay, as of right now, I'm in. I'm completely in.
That is definitely the one thing that I definitely got from this is, especially with Triple H's him with Triple H in their promo. Like, at first he was just simply asking for an Intercontinental Championship rematch. But when Triple H came out and reminded us who Seth Rollins, what he did, what he was the face of the Authority, he was the face of Raw, and Triple H saying, I haven't seen that in you, and the fact that Seth Rollins keeps bringing up Brock, while he's working in week in and week out, showing that he is the best on that Monday Night Raw has to offer. Brock Lesnar is nowhere to be found. He keeps bringing up Brock Lesnar. So they're definitely planting something there. Mm-hmm. And with the rumor going around of what Vince McMahon wants as the Universal title match at Mania and what Triple H wants as the Universal title match at Mania, this Raw definitely kept both of them going, where I'm just like, okay, the winner of the Royal Rumble this year is definitely going to be a Raw guy. It's just a question on
basically between two guys. Really.
Mm-hmm. But, and then after that, the next main focus that was really on Raw, other than Ronda Rousey, because who wants to talk about Ronda Rousey and Natalya versus Nia Jax and Tamina as the main event of the show.
I felt myself getting more and less interested as you were going down the names. So, like, Ronda Rousey, yay!
And Natalya.
Okay. Nia Jax.
Tamina. Oh. That closed out the show. At that point, I'm just like, I'm watching. I'm like, okay, I already read the spoiler. I know what happens.
At that point, I'm like, okay. I like the fact that women are getting the main event now. Okay, but some matches don't deserve it. Okay. And this is one of them. I think you should have closed this off. I think the best thing you could have done to close this off was the Intercontinental title match.
And that's perfect segue is the next best thing that happened on Raw was the storyline of the Intercontinental Championship, where when Shane McMahon came out to end the Triple H Seth Rollins segment, he announced it's a refreshing
The Fresh Start
Battle Royal. That's what it was called. And of course, like, people are into it. And then Baron Corbin eliminated Finn Balor, and that took people out of it.
Yeah. And then Apollo Crews said, "Fuck it," and started eliminating everybody.
Yeah, I think it was like a 15-man battle royal.
I think Apollo.
He eliminated 8 of them.
He eliminated 8 guys, and it was one of those things like, okay, like halfway through, I'm like, okay, Apollo Crews is eliminating everybody. He's gonna get that. He's gonna be that guy who gets eliminated by like 4 people. Mm-hmm. Just 4 people gang up on Apollo Crews and take him out, and then no, he just kept eliminating people.
And he eventually won the match.
I do like one thing that has nothing to do with Apollo Crews. I did like that they gave Curt Hawkins the almost whoop-de-doo on Baron Corbin. I'm like, is that a sign that maybe something might happen with Curt Hawkins?
Being one of the final 3 in a battle royal for the Intercontinental Championship,
and actually looking like you could eliminate the biggest guy in.
No, he didn't.
He did for me.
All he did was throw a couple punches. Baron threw him out. Hawkins just grabbed him, looked like he was about to drag him, and then Corbin was just like, "Oh wait, yeah, this is Curt Hawkins. Get up!" and just threw him out.
At the beginning, when he first got him in the headlock, when I was like, "Is this going to be a Chris Benoit moment? Chris Benoit Big Show? Or is that what they're trying to do here?"
That would seem more like a Sandow Big Show moment.
And then it turned, and then it became a Sandow
Big Show Sandow moment.
I was like, it started off with my hope that it was a Benoit Big Show moment, and then it turned into a Sandow Big Show moment. So, but the fact is, ending it up, Apollo Crews is your number 1 contender, and it's like, oh.
Okay.
Oh,
maybe. And then my immediate response to it is like, as much as I did want Finn Balor to win this, because rumors going around that he is planning on getting a big push for 2019. I'm actually pretty glad he didn't win this, because Dean Ambrose versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship, save that for a pay-per-view, man.
Yeah.
That's a good match, and this one was definitely, as the title game for the Battle Royal, it was a fresh start for Apollo Crews. And then when it came to the Intercontinental Championship match itself, it was actually a really good match between the two.
The match itself was good. Yes. But it was also one where I felt the result was never in doubt.
Oh. It was just...
It was one of those... It was like that house show feel, where they do the battle royal and then in the main event they have the match.
That was a house show. This whole Intercontinental Championship storyline actually was the storyline of a house show this past weekend.
Exactly, and
it was the one at Madison Square Garden.
It's been the storyline.
It was the exact same thing, except on the house show. I don't know if they announced this on TV, but they said. They're doing something new with battle royals, where they're now adding pinfalls to it. And now instead of throwing them out in the room, you can pin your opponent.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
That's stupid.
I don't like it either. But
that's one of the.
They didn't announce it on Raw, so I guess it's just an experiment that they did in the house show. People didn't like it, so they're like, okay, it was an attempt. All right, moving on.
But basically, it's a house show trope, really. When they do the battle royal at the beginning of the show for the number 1 contendership to whatever title, and then they have that as the main event. So whenever I see it on a main show, okay, there's no suspense in the actual match. It's like they're not changing the title. This is house show trope.
This was, like I said, this was the exact thing of what it is. It's a fresh start. 2019 may be actually something big for Apollo Crews.
Yeah,
this,
it does.
This definitely does look like they do have some plans for him, and hopefully it will, because I've said it before. I like the guy. He should have spent more time in NXT to actually, develop a character instead of being all smiles. But maybe this is it. Maybe this is his time to actually develop something more than just happy-go-lucky Apollo.
But being with Titus, okay, at least for the beginning of that, when he was showing personality as the guy with Titus, it's like before that, I'm like, this dude is wooden. Like, he's got the skills. He's got the skill set. But
he's just not a character.
He doesn't have a character. He doesn't do anything for me. And then he got with Titus, and I'm like, ooh, okay. There's something here. But he's with Titus and Dana fucking Brooke. So, okay, you're not going anywhere here. But what this does is get Apollo Crews in your mind. Mm-hmm. It's like he wasn't there before. Okay, he was out of...
Now when you think of Apollo, like, before when you thought of Apollo Crews, he was just a jobber. Now this maybe is like, okay, he had his time. Now they actually have something for him. Maybe this is a push to something greater for him.
What I do like about he got all of his moves in, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But he did all this flashy stuff. I don't like another trope. Okay, the person gets the shit kicked out of him for basically the entire match. Okay, then you hit then he hits a random out of nowhere finisher and boom, 1, 2, 3 is done. I mean, like, it's nice that they're putting like the dirty deeds as one of those finishers. Like, hey, you're not gonna kick out of this. Mm-hmm. It's cool that they're giving it that. Like that RKO feel, like it could come out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. That kind of deal. I like that. But if you're trying to get me invested in Apollo Crews, him being on the offensive for 7 minutes and then going down to one finisher isn't gonna help your case. That's it.
It's actually kind of funny because I'm kind of saying the same thing with Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose right now hasn't. Hopefully, the 2019 may be something for him, but it's like I said in the past. He hasn't had that moment where, yeah, he's one of the main events of the show, but he's not the star. He's not he's not one of the stars. He's just an attraction.
Well, it's the problem with the storyline that he was given. In that they had something big, okay? The way he turned on Seth Rollins, that week, okay? He was the only thing people were talking about. It would have been so easy. It was so easy, okay? You didn't have to do anything. He was the guy that people most hated because of what he did when he did it. Okay? Just continue with that. Just keep going on that path.
Now
okay? If you keep going on that path, okay, greatness. Storyline, greatness. Okay? But people complained with that promo.
We're in a time where everyone is offended by something.
Okay, people complained, and because people complained, now we've got Bane. We've got Bane Ambrose. We've got Bane. So
now here's the thing: Bane Ambrose would actually be pretty awesome, because when you think of Bane,
except he's not.
Here's how if you're calling him Bane Ambrose, he's Bane from Batman and Robin. Bane.
Yeah.
He's not Bane that is super smart, super tactical, figured out who Batman is just from all this and breaking Batman's back. He's
because the problem is, okay, he could be.
He's trying so hard. He's like
the problem is he could be that Bane. He could be the Dark Knight Rises Bane. He could be. It's Dean Ambrose. We've heard him do promos.
Like,
We've seen shit.
I want him to be like he's with someone who's like, I'm in charge, and he just puts his hand. Do you feel in charge? And you just felt the difference in how he is just a very intimidating force.
But
I'm not feeling that right now.
But here's the problem, okay? It's WWE writing. Okay? So instead of getting that Bane Ambrose, do you feel like you're in control? Or that whole thing, okay? You had moments. You had glimpses of it. When he did that final promo before the Intercontinental title match at TLC, and he basically told Seth Rollins exactly what was going to happen, and it turned out that it happened. Okay? I was like, okay, there you go. There it is. Keep that coming. Keep that Dean Ambrose coming.
And then needle in the ass.
And then no, that was even before that. You get that. You get those moments, and then you get needle in the ass. You get Seth Rollins cutting a promo, Dean Ambrose walking behind him in the background, making faces at the camera. It's like, okay, pick one and stick. Okay, are we getting stupid Bane or are we getting smart Bane? We're getting Bane. I know that. It's just the question, which one are we getting? One week it's stupid Bane, the next week it's smart Bane.
Welcome to the Scholars of Batman show.
Well, come on. He puts on that jacket. He puts on that jacket. What's the first thing you think of? And don't lie.
Yeah. I just didn't expect this discussion to take quite this interesting of a turn. Anyway, as this story continues on...
Yeah, that was raw. That was pretty much raw,
yeah. As the story continues on, we also cannot neglect Smackdown, and we had on this show a rather delightful exchange with John Cena and one Becky Lynch. This one was a ton of fun.
This is the John Cena that I like. Mostly because he's taken some time off. Okay, I haven't had to see him every week, squashing my favorites for a good long while now. He comes out, and he's actually entertaining. Like, for the first time in a while. Like, I sat there and I wasn't pissed once when he was on the screen.
The thing is, the difference between John Cena and like old like part-timers and legends from like the old days in the Attitude Era, he understands, like he's slowly checking out of professional wrestling. He has to get the younger talent over. And guys like Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash by the WCW
they didn't understand.
They didn't understand that. They were trying to hold on to something that obviously they didn't have anymore. So they're just basically hooking on their names and having the younger up and coming talent be their underlings, and they were just refusing to get people to put people over just because, hey, I'm Hulk Hogan. I don't lose to so and so.
And I love that
John Cena is putting people over, and even in defeat, like when him and Becky were fighting Andrade Cien Almas and Selena Vega, Almas looked strong to a point where I actually kind of want to see an Almas versus Cena one-on-one match.
And there it is.
And I like the fact that during the promo he broke the fourth wall and basically was like, I know someone's going to interrupt me. I know how this works. So who wants to be the one?
He even made fun of his hair.
I'm like,
something people online have been doing.
So it's like, so who wants to be the one? Who wants to be the one? Go ahead, come on out.
It was like, what? Okay, some man is gonna come out.
You know for a fact that he's the one who chose this. Mm-hmm. He's the one who said,
I got to do a segment
with Becky Lynch. So she comes out and
basically does
is Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
is plain old Becky Lynch.
This was definitely Twitter Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Twitter Lynch.
Twitter Lynch.
I wasn't just coming for Charlotte last year. I was coming for you because I want to be the face of that people see when they think of this company. And I was like, ooh.
Chills. I got chills, but this is kind of hot.
Yeah. And then so they do the whole thing, and then Selena Vega and Andrade Cien Almas come out, and we get that tag team match. And Becky Lynch throws John Cena out of the ring. Mm-hmm. Doesn't place him nicely or get him out of the ring. No, takes him, throws him out of the ring, puts the disarmer on Zelina Vega. Of course she taps. Mm-hmm. And crowd goes nuts, as you do. That's it. And then John Cena goes for the handshake. And Becky Lynch with the "You Can't See Me." I'm like,
she's a star.
This segment, everything that had to do with this segment was gold. Everything.
Just in this one segment alone, she's already solidified herself already. It's like she's already put herself in the position where she's leading Superstar of the Year for My Scully's.
And then you got
absolutely,
and then you get the backstage promo after the show that they do with John Cena, and he's like, I don't even care. She's fucking great.
Like, yeah, I'm not mad. She's awesome.
And all you need to do, WWE, is not mess it up. Just take her to WrestleMania, put her in the main event.
But didn't you know? Didn't you know? They already told Charlotte she's got a main event. WrestleMania.
I have heard murmurs of a possible triple threat.
There better fucking be a triple threat.
I'm something we talked about on the show. What was it? A couple weeks ago. Mm. Yeah, I'm convinced it's a triple threat.
It has to be. Mm. But how do they get to the triple threat? What are they doing at the Royal Rumble with that segment that they did with Carmella, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, all showing up when Triple H went to Asuka and said, "Hey, who do you want to face at the Royal Rumble?" And then all three of them show up.
New era, new faces fighting.
Oh wait, that?
Yeah, did we see all three of these people fight for the SmackDown Women's title last year?
I'm like, I don't want to see Charlotte and Becky in this match. Because I want them to be in the Rumble. Well, because they weren't.
Well, we're getting Becky, so sorry.
Oh, well. Well.
At least it's not Carmella.
I don't think they're going to go down that road again. But elsewhere, speaking of number one contenders for titles.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
I would laugh too. But anyway, that's beside the point. Because we also have a new number one contender for the...
But do we really? But do we really?
Again, new era, new faces. But instead, we're getting AJ Styles.
But I do like how they're doing the storyline. At least if we're not gonna get a new match, okay, we're getting a different take to the storyline. Mm-hmm. I love what they're doing with AJ Styles right now. But the random ass attack on Vince McMahon last week comes out this week. And goes to Vince, and Shane McMahon goes to his dad. What the hell did you do? Why did you do that? Why would you unleash that beast? And AJ Styles comes in, acting like he's about to apologize, and then goes, "No, I'm not gonna apologize. You earned that."
It's also kind of weird to think about. Did it also seem like they were also setting up Mustafa Ali to be number one contender, especially after these last couple weeks?
I wouldn't
pinning Daniel Bryan.
I wouldn't say that they were setting him up to be number one contender. I just thought it was natural storyline progression. Like he almost beat him. He almost beat him, and he did beat him. He's probably gonna get a title match in the lead up. And AJ Styles is gonna just...
I just thought they were gonna put AJ Styles in the Rumble and just have him and have Bryan just basically have pretty much a filler match. Just fill the storyline. Oh yeah, Mustafa Ali.
But didn't you know they don't do that anymore? They have real... Remember Brock Lesnar versus Hardcore Holly at Royal Rumble? They don't do that anymore. They do real championship matches at the Royal Rumble now. They shouldn't do that.
When the hell did Brock Lesnar face Hardcore Holly at Rumble?
That was like 2004 or 2005.
Are you talking about when he broke his neck? With that powerbomb? Because that was a Smackdown.
No. That was on the comeback after that.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Hardcore Holly?
Yeah. It was like a mini feud.
He came back, and after the neck injury, he came back, and that was the feud. You fucked up my neck. I'm gonna take your title, and it was the filler.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember.
It was
that.
the filler
feud.
Brief.
It was very brief.
Yeah, it was the 1 month filler title feud for Rumble that they no longer do. That's it.
Because we got between Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar. I honestly thought this was just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Gets AJ Styles away from the title and into Rumble.
Nope.
And then Mustafa Ali is
this
display of being
kind
of pulling an Apollo Crews.
Yeah, what this really did was make me want to see Mustafa Ali versus Rey Mysterio immediately. What this really did. That's it.
Now I'm really pulling for Mustafa Ali. I'm consistently impressed by Mustafa Ali, and now I just want to see more of him.
It makes me want to see Buddy Murphy.
And here's the question.
On the main roster.
Here's the question. Okay, you're showing this new side of AJ Styles. Okay, you've had this new side of Daniel Bryan. Someone's character's gonna get fucked up because of this match. Because one of them has to lose. You're showing a new character. Okay, you're showing a new side of AJ Styles. Okay, a meaner, more psychotic side of AJ Styles. And you've got the greatness that is Daniel Bryan right now. Okay, yeah, I know. They're at the stage now where there's nothing you can do that will completely fuck their character. Except, I'm not so certain that's true. That's it. Because why have this match again?
That's why I thought they were doing the Mustafa Ali, just to get AJ away from the title and into a different storyline.
I'm like, if you're doing
it to Mania.
Yeah, if you're making this new character, why would you set him up to fail?
And from what it looks like, they would be setting up Styles and Orton, and Orton as the new Undertaker for Vince McMahon.
So it's like, are they setting up like Orton?
A big rumor is going around.
Orton being the reason why AJ Styles doesn't win.
That's probably going to happen. And he's being sent by Vince. Because the whole storyline right now that they're planning for Mania is AJ Styles versus Vince, but having Randy Orton be his...
Oh, good, because Vince is in his 70s. I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
It's basic, it's him, Randy Orton being Vince McMahon's avatar in 2K19.
Why does that work?
But it's like, I don't understand it, but it was a fatal 5-way match.
It was
with
a
the
good
guys
match.
with the guys that were in the match. You can't go wrong. It's like, does the winner make sense?
Yeah,
I guess. Here's the one question I have for it though. Why did Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe have to be in a qualifying match while the other ones were just announced?
Because match.
I mean, I guess you could be like
Samoa Joe and Hardy.
I guess you could be like Mustafa Ali pinned the champion. Okay, AJ Styles. I guess
instead of getting the automatic rematch, he has to earn that title.
Yeah,
match
so
back.
it's like, okay.
And then Orton
Rey
and
Mysterio, I don't under.
It's Mysterio and Orton.
Mysterio and Orton have been feuding, so why not?
It's Mysterio and Orton because.
And then
Mysterio and Orton.
Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe, because we don't know who we want.
It's because they're in a feud. So let's pull a Rusev versus Aiden English in this match and just have them have their blow-off match on an episode of SmackDown.
And have it be for some kind of stakes.
Juicy WWE Championship opportunity stakes.
Yes.
Yummy.
Steaks.
But yeah,
like
this
steaks,
is
so it's not really yummy for me.
Yeah, but if we're moving on now, it's pretty easy this week for me. Even with not totally agreeing with the winner of the Fatal 5-Way, there was way much better stuff on SmackDown
By a fairly large
margin. It's like
No surprise, though.
Yeah.
But even if you watched the whole Raw, okay, yeah, it had some good bits. It had a lot more good bits than it had the last few weeks. Pretty much all of December. It was the best show that they had in December. But, as everybody knows, that's not exactly saying all that much. But SmackDown, as of right now, it's once again top tier.
It's still the superior product.
There were moments earlier in 2008 where SmackDown was really falling off.
Wait, are you actually
2018?
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, do you actually mean 2008, or are you just
2018? There were a period of months right after the draft, right after the shakeup, where SmackDown was pretty much complete shit. Pretty much, but
no more.
But then SummerSlam hit. They got back on track, and pretty much ever since September, it's pretty much been a clean sweep, except for the leukemia episode. Other than that, it's basically been a clean sweep for SmackDown, and that's not. I don't see that changing in the near future.
Showing why Fox is wanting SmackDown on their program, on their lineup instead of Raw.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, but still bodes well for the future of the show, if nothing else.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that was this week in professional wrestling. Lots of highs, lots of lows. Oh, but wow. So now we're turning it over to you, our wrestling fan audience. What did you take away from this week in wrestling? What matches or segments did you like the most? What are some big hopes and dreams you've got for All Elite Wrestling? And what are some favorite memories from Mean Gene Okerlund? Drop us a line, let us know what you think. Whether it's in the YouTube comments section or on Facebook, where you can like us, do your whole thing, or you can join the conversation on Twitter. We want to hear from you. Speaking of Twitter, you can follow us at ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads. And you can also find us on our personal Twitter accounts. Join the conversation. Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me, the Scholars of Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, at the Avatar.
Bryan, where can they reach you?
You can reach me, not any of that, at Atomic Beanpole.
And you can reach me at I'm Robbie Rage.
Also not that.
Also not that. Join the conversation. But before we go, we have a special announcement to make.
It's that time of year again.
Yes, it's time for the Royal Rumble, which to the Scholars of Wrestling show,
our favorite time of year,
it means only one thing: the return of the WWE Royal Rumble game.
Woo-woo!
Yes, details are going to be coming soon. Details to follow, but we can announce this one thing: predictions for the annual Royal Rumble game will be opening next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. next Saturday morning, the event goes live.
Find us on the Facebook.
Find us on the Facebooks. More details for this year's Royal Rumble game to come. So keep an eye out on Facebook. Be ready. Put in your predictions, because we know we've got our predictions. Because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you all at the Royal Rumble game.